Hey everyone, it's Libby from maighstirtarot. I'd like to acknowledge the Worimi First Nations people. It's W-O-R-I-M-I, and welcome to you, your guides, my guides in the universal energies. Okay, this is entertainment only, and we're going to have a little bit of an interesting discussion here. Yes, there are a zillion things that I could look into on the micro level in regards to what's happening around the world at the moment, but I'm actually going to do a bit of a more of a macro reading in this particular reading. I was listening to whatever it was yesterday to Hogarth's astrology, his live that was with Lady G, Sheila from Celtic Tarot, and David from Moonride. And Sheila said something that really caught my attention. It was literally a little throwaway line where she said something about because they were talking about the hope for the United States, given the situation that they're in at the moment. And she made a little comment. Sheila, very talented, miles beyond what I am, but also not necessarily miles beyond what I am, but in a different manner. And what happens is all us light workers, we connect in differently depending on what we are meant to bring to the collective. I won't say anyone is more talented than anybody else because they're not. We are just all different, and we connect with our guides how we are meant to, and we bring forward the messages that we are meant to at any given time. And that's why, something can be said as a throwaway line, or a headline can flash again through my email or social media feed, and I go, oh, hang on, and that really grabs my attention. And this did. Sheila mentioned they were talking about, the hope for the United States going forward. And she touched on the bigger picture of the hope for humanity and made the comment about if we could look into the Akashic records, which from what I understand, she has got the ability to do. And then she backtracked really quickly. And she said something about some of humanity will step into the next dimension of ascension. So, in other words, move forward progressively. And she said, and the rest will die off. And I went, ooh, that really got my attention. Now, the reason I'm saying is that it's not that they're all just sort of going to fall over and die. But if you cast your mind back and your feels back, couple of 100,000 years ago. Yes, some of us were around then. And what's actually happening is that, yes, we have all had lifetimes in that period, except that what's happening is we feel like the lifetimes are like, geez, I barely snuff it and I'm back again because there are so many people in the world at the moment. Now, if I read my history correctly, there were around 9 different species of early humans that existed alongside Homo sapiens. The Neanderthals, the Homo erectus, the Denisovans, etc., etc. There were 9, so there are at least 9 different human species that existed at the same time as Homo sapiens. Those 9, they either interbred with Homo sapiens because we all have DNA elements of some of these other humanity groups in them, like Neanderthals, etc. But as a species, they actually died out. So what's happening now is that we, as humanity, really, really resonated with me that we, as humanity, are going through evolution to this next stage of humanity. And we're having this branching moment like we did back, 900, a million years ago, or whatever it was, where we're having this branching happening. And those of us will be on a particular branch, those of us that are progressive and connected to Gaia, Mother Earth, and are connected to Spirit, will be on this branch that survives. Now, I'm also going to throw into the mix that around 900,000 years ago, archaeologists and scientists have discovered that there was a bottleneck environmental event that happened on Earth that wiped out nearly 99% of the population. Now, I'm not saying that 99% of the population is going to be wiped out in a particular event, but what basically happened is there was population collapse. So about 98.7% of humanity, of all these different species of humanity, these different branches of humanity, were wiped out because there was dramatic climate change. And it is considered that it was a climatic change that occurred that made Africa much colder and drier, severe droughts, etc., which meant that the earth could not sustain the populations. So, where do I go with this? It just, as I said, it really resonated with me. Now, what is happening on Earth at the moment, aside from the fact that, what do we have, a 7.8 earthquake off Russia 2 months after they had an 8.8 in exactly the same location. The scientists are really, and meteorologists, etc., are really struggling with the environment as to, well, what's going to happen with the environment. We are in uncharted, in our knowledge territory of what is actually going to happen. And this was made prominent to me. I was watching an Australian television series called Landline, which is about farming, bringing farming innovation and issues to the public. Really fascinating TV series, even though I'm a city girl living in the city. But they also talk about, they do quite a big weather event segment once a month. And in the weather segment from the Bureau of Meteorology, they were talking about the fact that the Indian Ocean dipole is at an unusual level, which would historically mean that in Australia we're going to have a very wet summer, but it's at a level where they're not quite sure what's actually going to happen because they haven't in recorded history had this particular significance of a swing. So the Indian Ocean dipole signifies that we're going to have a wet summer. However, what is happening at the same time is that the atmospheric currents or rivers circling the Antarctica indicate that we might have a dry summer, because what's happening is that with the oceans warming, the ocean currents are shifting, but science doesn't know what is going to happen. And that's what science is. You have a theory, you test it, and it works or it doesn't work. And if it works, you test it again and again and again to prove that it wasn't just a fluke. We're at this point in humanity on our planet that we haven't seen before. And I don't mean haven't seen before in our lifetime. I mean haven't seen before. Coring of places like Antarctica, where there are hundreds of thousands of years worth of ice layers, looking at coring samples on Earth, looking at reef growth in the oceans, etc. Science can pretty much determine what has happened over history. And we at the moment this is me shuffling, if you can hear that noise. We at the moment are in a period where the Earth is warming significantly quicker than any other period that they have been able to record going back. So where do we go with this? I don't know, but I found it fascinating. I'm going to start with the Smith-Waite Tarot deck, entertainment only. I didn't bring any. I've got a couple of oracle cards, but they're the dark ones, so I'm not going to pull on those at the moment. I just want to see. I just want to have a look. I just thought it was incredibly fascinating. So tell me, what do we need to know about this period in history for humanity? That's very much forewarned as forearmed. I mean, 900,000 years ago, 1% of the population that survived was about 1,000, just over 1,000 or 1,100 people. So, not sort of looking at the populations we've got now, but just show me. What do we need to know? Okay, thank you. It's not about money, is what I'm being told. Now, the assumption would be some sort of Elysium type, if you've seen the movie, Elysium type, where the wealthy had their bunkers, etc., and they could just do whatever they liked and left the rest of us plebs to it. But it's nothing to do with money. Okay, thank you. I just heard money won't save you. I'm getting that it is flexibility. Now, this won't be in my lifetime. I'm just going to say it, not my lifetime. Possibly not even my daughter's lifetime. Might be in my grandkids' lifetime, but it's not, a sudden event type thing. It's pretty much, okay, so I'm getting money. It's nothing to do with money. Money won't save you. It's about adaptability. It's, okay, thank you. Adaptability and community. Okay, which is hard for us introverts. Okay, come on down, let's have a look. I'm not talking about this to scare anybody. This is nothing that humanity hasn't seen before. Right. The signifier card, which is the here and now, is the infighting, the trying to tear down, the trying to get one over. This is humanity at the moment. I mean, you only have to look what's going on around the world to know that this is humanity where it is in the here and now. It's all about trying to get the upper hand, trying to tear others down, going around in senseless circles, fighting over nothing except for fighting over because you've got blue dots on your shirt and you've got, yellow sleeves or something. The senseless infighting. So this is about us, again, okay, thank you. This is about, again, stepping back from this energy. This is not our fight. This is not the fight that we are meant to be involved in. There's a different plan for us. Okay, let's see where this goes. We are the ones with the message stick, bringing forth a new message. So this is the challenge to this energy, is the youth of today, and we as the older people are the guidance and the mentors of the youth, bringing forward a new message and holding their message stick. Okay, being the orators. This is not about a single leader. Okay, let's see where we go. At the foundation, well, it could be the mercenary card, but it's more about the dark horse, the knight in shining armor on the dark horse presenting a new opportunity. Who this is or what this is, I can't tell you for certain, but this is the out of left field opportunities that come forward to do something different. Now, what is it? The Einstein theory of something or other, that to repeat the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result, is a sign of insanity. Yeah, this is the dark horse presenting a different opportunity for going forward, for stability. Okay, in the past, the opportunity's there. It's there. It's here now. We are being presented with the lesson to be learnt to either pick up this opportunity or repeat the lesson. And at the moment, we're in the repeating the lesson. But in the past, we've been presented with this as well. We've been presented with the opportunity. We've known about climate change since the 1960s. The opportunity to do something has been presented by the universe over and over and over and over, and we're still squabbling over target emissions by 2035 or whatever in 10 years' time. We're still squabbling over it. Something unexpected, a dark horse with a new opportunity, is being presented now. The energy over this at the moment is it's just all too difficult. That's the message. It's all too hard. Right. Those that are claiming that it's all too hard are the branch that are going to peel off. It's not all too hard. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It's not too hard. It's actually really easy and logical. Now, our federal government here has come forward with a plan. Aren't they fabulous? Come forward with a plan of reducing fossil fuel emissions by 2035. And what happened? Our Conservative opposition are up in arms about what it's going to, there's no costing. They haven't told us what households are going to have to pay. Well, my way of putting it is, well, what are we going to have to pay if we don't do anything? So this is the difference. And I do see I'm fully on board with this with Sheila, in that we are at this diversion point where we can go down this, it's all too hard, so therefore let's do nothing, path of chaos, or we look at the dark horse opportunity. Okay, these are really interesting cards. Okay, come on down. It's a decision that each and every single one of us has to make. Because whether you make this decision in your lifetime or whether it's something that will, a decision you need to make in your next lifetime, believe it or not, we do have knowledge that we take from lifetime to lifetime. This is really interesting. The immediate future is about the legacy that we're going to leave. Is it, now Pentacles can be money. Is it about money? Is it about money legacy? Can we eat, drink and breathe money? Or is this a legacy of the earth? Because Pentacles are also about the earth. What legacy are we intergenerationally going to leave our grandchildren or great-grandchildren? Now you've got the old person here who was wearing a robe covered in grapevines, nothing wrong with that, who was there enjoying their retirement with their 2 dogs. They have done what they needed to do. It is time to step aside. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer looking at you. It is time for them to step aside and let the next generation that is working together come up with these solutions for the children. The crusty old, it's time to retire the crusty old coal-fired power stations of the 1920s or whatever they were when they were built. It's time to retire them and look at the new, bring forth the new energy. Now, nothing against the older generation. Absolutely nothing. They are our elders of wisdom. But this is also talking about time to hand over the baton to the new for the earth. I'm actually drawn to these figures up here that look like, I mean, I know they're probably castles, but if you look really closely, they look like coal-fired power stations. And a nuclear facility, coal-fired nuclear here. They're on this side of the archway. We're stepping through to the other side, where the air is clear, where there is hope for the youth. This is really interesting. I'm not bagging what has gone before. I'm just saying it's, time for the new. The technology is there. Externally, oligarchical control. Absolutely. At the moment, it's all about bottom line profit. Now, I have some shares, not many, but I have some shares in an Australian energy company. And the AGM's coming up. And I usually ignore the vote for who gets, who's going to be what position at the AGM. But this year I actually felt a need to look at the form itself, and I had a few extras on it. And some of those extras were bonuses for board members. And I went, nah, I'm against that. Why, when you get paid $umpteen million a year, do you actually need a bonus? No. But the very last question was, do you support the Energies company's renewable path forward? Absolutely yes for that one. So do not underestimate your power as a shareholder if you're a shareholder in these companies. But yeah, it is time for the old ways of doing to retire because the technology is there for the new. There's about 5 countries in the world, and granted they're fairly small countries, that produce 100% of their energy from renewable sources to the point where they are exporting it. It's doable. We just need government to actually have the gumption to say we are going to do. And the cost of not doing is greater than the cost of doing. Okay, come on down. Let's have a look. So externally, we've got this. Well, this is this figure in his younger years because they're wearing the same grapey costume. This one's faded. This one's still fresh. So this is very much about, the profit. At the moment, externally, it's all about the money. Internally, however, change is underway. Movement forward. At the moment, it's stalled. But we've got stalled movement forward is what I'm getting from that internally. Because there's more money to be made in the old ways of doing. Hopes and fears, a cleansing, an emotional rising up, new partnerships coming forward, the dove of peace. Okay, let's see where we go. The outcome, loss, despair, heartbreak, disappointment. The path forward is so obvious over here, yet we're caught in this despair of the moment. Righto. We've got here somebody writing in claiming victory, but it's not really. It's like a false victory. Oh, look what we've done, but it's going to be seen as a false victory. And we've got the movement of people. Immigration, migration is going to continue due to climate events as well as deliberately started conflicts. But this is also about an element rejecting this and moving forward with the truth. Okay, we've got the offer here of bright, shiny, blingy things that are not going to sustain. We've got hidden agendas, but it's also the rise of the feminine. On the back foot, defending. So whomever is offering these, just blingy distractions with this hidden agenda are going to be put on the back foot to try and defend their position, as those of us who are awake are going to start coming together as equals and walk away from the propaganda with that Eight of Cups. Okay. Just looking at what's on the bottom, it's quite awful because it's the current energy. You've got the sword of truth being brought forward by the youth. It's a nightmare situation, something unexpected out of left field coming forward. The King of Wands, action being taken. Page of Pentacles, the new opportunities again, new being presented. Feeling of betrayal and the abuse of power win at any cost, but this is also walking away from this abuse of power, as there is a volatile message coming out. Those that think that the ducks are all lined up in a row and greedy and are attached to this devil energy are going to find themselves juggling their position. I mean, it keeps going along in the same vein. So, I mean, none of these events, for example, the 9 human populations that died out, none of them happened overnight. So this is, it's not like here 1 week, gone the next type thing. This is multi-generational. But what you're going to find is that we of this generations that are here now are the start of this split, is what I'm getting. And I'm getting money won't save. So those that are, the monkeys that are stealing all the bananas while the others starve, their banana stash is going to go brown and rotten beneath their feet. It's not going to save them. Okay, so let's have a look. I'm not trying to be negative here at all. I actually see this as really positive. This split, it's this ascension split where those with the browning bananas and those that cast themselves at the feet of those with the browning bananas are going to be stuck in a stinky slush pond. Whereas those of us who go, okay, let's move, we'll move forward to planting our own banana tree, and we have then an endless supply of bananas, enough for everybody, and we share them all with everybody, will be the ones that survive. Does that make sense? I'm just trying to think of an analogy there as I harvested my coffee off my little tree that's only 2 years old. Give it a break, which will give me about enough coffee for about 4 cups. But my asparagus is shooting, so I've got fresh asparagus. The garlic's nearly ready to harvest. There's all sorts that is growing in my tiny little plot out the back there. But let's have a look. Entertainment only. Now I'm going to use this deck. It's my own deck. I'm just checking I've got all the cards. It is on Etsy, but not on Etsy. I've suspended the shop while the governments try and work out the tariffs. Because one day there's tariffs, next day there's no tariffs, one day they're 10%, the next day they're 50%, one day they're on nothing, anything under $800 is no tariffs, next day it's, they can't work it out. And there's a cute little puppy dog having a snooze. So let's have a look. I mean, I could explore this all day, and if I pulled out my oracle decks, be a fascinating topic. Okay, but let's have a look. What do we need to know about this divergence? I'm not going to say a split, this divergence in humanity that will be occurring over generations. It's not a, one day here, tomorrow, them's over there and us over here. But we've got this split happening. What do we need to know about it? Come on down, let's have a look and let sleeping dogs lie. Right, a lot of hard work, but also working with the earth, nourishing the earth, Mother Earth. But it's not going to be easy. Now, I'm just going to put it out there. It's not my generation, and it's probably not my daughter's generation that is going to get past this point and be able to look back and say this point. But we are the teachers of the next generation. We are the mentors. This will be very much a case of grandpa in the shed teaching the grandchildren how to, change a bicycle tube, or grandma, or it could be grandpa showing how to sew a button on, and grandma doing the bicycle tube. I'm not being gender here, but you get what I mean. Like, this is about passing on skills, but this is also passing on the appreciation of Gaia, Mother Earth, but also appreciation of love and light and ability and all this. So that there's hard work, and it doesn't need to be your own grandkids. It can be the neighbourhood kids. Can you step in and teach some children how to read? Being a mentor. Can you volunteer at the local high school or primary school to teach kids motor mechanics or something? Whatever. Anyhow, hard work. It's not going to be easy. Absolutely. We are at a crossroads moment now. We are. And it's up to us individually to choose which way forward. We've got the greed and pretentious versus, okay, right, thank you. Being pulled up on this because I think Danny Shea had this card, and he said, it isn't about poverty itself, it's about the poverty consciousness of those that have this greed. Which is going to be really interesting, because the monkey with all the bananas, it doesn't matter how many bananas he has, it's never enough. It is a poverty consciousness, and they are going to be exposed as being in this poverty situation. Okay. We've got, well, it can be conflict and slow and illumination. The poverty of conflict and the space race as well. Space exploration is fabulous, but not sending rockets up for the sake of sending rockets up to show who's got the bigger willy. So there's this poverty here in the middle. The change is going to be slow, but it is going to be illuminated and bring joy. Okay, let's see where we go. The minus travel, overseas travel, the reduction and perhaps overseas travel. As much as I'd love to see the world. See where it goes. family, peace are intertwined. Okay, this is about a reduction of looking externally for fulfillment. I was chatting with my girlfriend yesterday, and we do talk about, traveling, etc. Neither of us have any interest whatsoever to go to the tourist locations and do the touristy things. Both of us are very much wandering gypsies, meanderers, sitting in the cafe on the street corner, absorbing the culture and the humanity of places that we travel to. Not interested in racing to the Eiffel Tower and saying, oh, there it is, and then to the Louvre and go, ooh, I saw the Mona Lisa, and then over to the, whatever else. Neither of us have an interest in this. We are very much more of spiritually based travellers where we immerse ourselves into the community. And I think this is where this is heading. Right, intertwining via, well, are these our intergalactic friends coming, or is this learning foreign cultures via the intertwining, by the peace, the families? Wasn't that long ago that it was illegal for a white person to marry a person of colour? It, and yet now, well, for me, it's just a non-thing. So via learning from other cultures, documentation of rules, so these are constitutions where magic can happen. Something, and now Denise Knight has this when she says it looks like an eraser, erasing out what was to bring forward something new. Magic happens where we have equality and diversity and unity of diversity. So I'm asking where it's going in time. In time. There's this shift from gallivanting around the world to tick off a box that says you've been to umpteen dozen cities, never actually experienced any of them, to this more spiritual intertwining connection of cultures and experiences. Am I making sense there? It's the immersing yourself into something that is different to where you come from, rather than demanding everything be the same as where you come from. And that is a poverty of consciousness. This is really fascinating. Freedom will be huge, or is huge, as we share the secrets of our knowledge and grow. Now, I haven't got the money card at all. I'm hoping it doesn't come out, because it's not about money. It's about sharing our knowledge. The freedom is huge to be able to share our knowledge, to grow and grow productively. And it's not necessarily plants, it's ideas. We've got female leadership. Doesn't mean rule. Female leadership around the world. Mother Earth, female leadership. Our actions have consequences, and it is about sustainability and balance. Ooh, we've got the devil energy is in the past. Oh, I like that. I almost want to peek at the last card. It's communication. Communication is the key. This is not going to be A to B, straight line path. It will be convoluted. It will have many twists and turns. Every single one of us is a drop in the ocean. The future is not written yet. That's the card on the bottom. I like these cards, especially this energy being in the past. And this energy, war and greed, is an indicator of poverty consciousness. We are at a crossroads, and you can choose this path or you can choose this path. Not just for this lifetime, because as I said, it won't be this lifetime. This divergence will happen probably in the ending of my lifetime, because we're seeing the split occur now. But the actual seeable split in the lines of humanity won't be visible for, what am I saying? Won't be able to look back and be visible for, I'm getting 500 to 1,000 years, but I think in the 500 years it will be, but in 1,000 years it will actually be, studied as history, a point in history, if that makes sense. It will be I'm getting culminated, as in it will be defined. It will have happened within about that 500 years. But it's at about the 1,000-year point that the historians of that time can look back and say, this is the point of divergence, and this line died out 500 years ago or whatever. This is really fascinating. I wonder what they're going to name us going forward. So what you'll probably find is that and I'm deliberately going out of the picture there with that. For some, that's where my guides are sending me. They're out of the picture. They will be called historically the Homo sapiens. I wonder what they're going to call those of us that go on this new path. This is really fascinating stuff. It is to do with connection with Earth. It is to do with connection of fellow humans. It is to do with knowledge. Okay, thank you. What I'm getting is knowledge of spiritual self within, not putting it off to some external religion. This is internal spiritual knowledge, and being very comfortable with internal spiritual knowledge. Boy, oh boy, I wonder what they're going to call this line going forward. And this is our purpose here now. Doesn't matter whether you're watching me and you're 21 or you're 91. This is your purpose now, is for whatever stage to be the mentor, the teacher, the holder of the light, the bringer of the spiritual awareness and the appreciation of Mother Earth. This is really interesting. I keep getting money's irrelevant. Doesn't matter how much money you've got, you can't buy your way into this lineage. Oh, that's interesting, because they just reminded me of the orange twerp saying that he's going to buy his way into heaven. You can't buy your way into heaven. And it's the same sort of energy. It doesn't matter whether you're the richest person in the graveyard. You're still in the graveyard. It doesn't matter whether your mausoleum is covered in marble and gold and whatever else. You're still in the graveyard. It's what's within. And it's teaching and mentoring and guiding from what's within. Sheila, Bring it. Love it. Keep talking about this. Expand on it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, entertainment only. Have a fabulous weekend. If something dire happens over the weekend, I'll pop on. I'll be back on my Monday, which is night 20, which is the 22nd. My 22nd is US 21st. We're having a solar eclipse that day. That's going to be an interesting day. Okay, love to you all. And is it the equinox? I think it's not the equinox. What's the one in the middle? You know what I'm talking about. Okay, I'll catch you on Monday. Bye-bye. Love to you all.